Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And thank you for coming to the channel. Thank you for watching. Right now, no one's here, but I'm going to keep talking into the void because I know someone will watch this. But welcome to the channel. I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And I'm like, what is this in this one? It's my camera thing. Anyway, welcome to the channel. So today I want to share my personal winter curriculum. So months ago, I shared my curriculum and I know what I did wrong and I know what I did right. And I got it together this time. This time I'm more focused and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to just jump right in. So my logic behind all of this is I wanted to combine magic and science in an approachable way. That's one. Two, I wanted the phone, y'all, these phones, the scrolling, enough. I got the flip. Anyway, the scrolling, enough. I can't. And if you notice that my pinky is without a nail and you make a comment or you notice it, you're anti black. But anyway, I really just feel like it's too much. So I've been doing a lot of work on myself and just trying to understand myself better because here's the thing. We're always evolving, we're always changing. Hopefully, you have some control over it and you're not just like growing and learning from, the circumstances that are put upon you, whether, you know what I'm saying? Like hopefully you are doing more. To help shape your who you are. And to me, developing a personal curriculum is doing that because knowledge, whether it's in a university, whether it's your personal curriculum and your personal knowledge that you're acquiring, it will forever shape you. It will change you. It will never go away unless you lose all your memories but hopefully you don't. But my point is, we are meant to keep evolving and to keep learning, and I don't think there's a cap on how much information you can learn. Um, and my objective is not to just learn but to apply where I need to. So without further ado, this is a 6-week personal curriculum. I have papers. I typed it out. I put Microsoft Word to good use. So there are 4 study subjects that I will do over the 6 weeks. So why 6 weeks? 6 weeks is a doable number. A month is too short. 2 months, I lose interest. So that was my mistake the first go around, trying to do like a college semester level of work. I don't want to do that. I realize that now that's too much. That's too much for me to focus on. Like it was just too much. Me trying to do the other things, it was too much. And I wasn't finding the joy in it. So I'm okay to push myself when things get hard, but it felt way too much of an obligation and it was causing me stress. So 6 weeks, I think is going to be my sweet spot. First thing, and I said, let me meet myself where I'm at. So I'm reading a book called Initiation or Initiated, a memoir of a witch. Love it. I'm reading it on my Kindle. I'm reading this with my coven. If you didn't know, I'm in a coven. I run a coven. We're reading this together, and we meet about it. So I'm about 6 chapters in so far, and I just created this. So that's okay because it fits this. So I can, it's my personal studies and work with my coven, and they kind of overlap. So this is perfect for me. So I'm going to meet myself where I'm at since I'm already reading that. Next thing is writing lab. So I identify this as magical writing exercises, vignette work, and sort of like spell poetics. So I'm taking my writing and I am basically turning it into a lab, but I need a twist. I need something different. So I already have my prompts and all that pretty much ready to go. And my goal is to spend 10 minutes. If I want to spend more, I will, but I will set a timer and only do 10 minutes. Like it's intentionally a short writing lab as I approach this, but that kind of works with how my brain processes things. Um, I'm just not somebody who needs to be trying to do like an hour long of that and trying to commit to it. I don't I don't respond well to that. So anyway, I'm 10 minutes is my goal. The next thing is this is the two subjects. This third subject is goddess studies. So in this case, it's Hecate. Now I work with Hecate. Um, she has an altar, very well, you might not know, but it's prominently behind me. Um, in my coven, we invoke her often, so it's not uncommon for me to work with Hecate. Is my point, and I've been working with her for a few years. So the thing about it is, I want to go even deeper academically, yes, but it's all personal. But I want to take the historical study, devotional practices, and then my modern priestess work type thing. So I kind of have that mapped out. The next is science of ritual. This is where the science comes in. So attention, neuroplasticity, trance mechanics, symbolic cognition. So these are my four subjects. You notice that the science of ritual is kind of more of a departure from the other things, and that's kind of my more meatier. It's a lot more. There's more books involved and possible other things, documentaries and things like that that are involved in the science of ritual, and followed by closely by the writing, the Hecate, and then a writing lab, and then the book. I tried to take like really heavier subjects before and tried to make that into like at all the subjects. Like I don't know, I was doing too much, y'all. I was doing too much. So this time I'm not doing too much. I'm doing just enough for me so I can do this. This light, I really need to fix this. This is irritating me. I look over and it's like my side of the face is like shining. Let me fix this, y'all. Sorry. It was driving me insane. So anyway, yeah. So I got all this fixed. I got all this kind of the way I want it. And I think this is gonna I don't think I know. It's going to fit me much better. So in the thumbnail, I shared the books that I'm going to be using for this curriculum. So it's going to be, I mentioned Initiated. That's the book that I'm 6 chapters in, so I feel good about that one. Um, Excellent book so far. Those 6 chapters, like you are pulled in chapter, like immediately, you're immediately pulled in. But some of the other books, for the writing lab, there's no books, it's just writing. Um, and with prompts, but I'm good on that. So I don't need to get a book for that. The goddess studies, though, for Hecate specifically, I do own a copy of Keeping Her Keys. Oddly enough, or coincidentally, we read that in years ago within a coven, but it was years ago. But I'm also going to work with this other book called Hecate Liminal Rites. I don't have that book, and it's older. So I looked at the reviews on that, so this will work out too. So that'll be a new book, and this gratefully for me is on Kindle. And yes, I have Amazon Prime. I'm working through that, but anyway, admittedly, so I do have it. But I will be. Those are my curriculum books for my goddess studies. And then the science of ritual, I have the book Why We Sleep. I got that from my library ebook, so that makes it perfect. I have it today, and I still have to get the extended mine that's on Amazon. I don't have it yet, so I have to get that one. That's the only one I don't have, and the liminal rights one, the Hecate liminal rights. Um, I just have to download those through Kindle. And I decided also to just work with within my what I have, as opposed, because I'm the type of person, I'll go get all the things. I like to have all. If you tell me, oh well, we're doing a workshop, here's here's some things that you definitely need, and here are the optional things. I get the optional things, the add-ons, everything. I'm one of those people. I want to have all the things. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to take it, because if I'm not reading that book until the couple weeks from now, why do I need, you see what I'm saying? Like I'm pacing it better. I think this is so I don't get overwhelmed, and I can actually have follow through that makes sense for me. So that's the meat of this. Now I went ahead and I created a weekly structure as well. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, as my phone rings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday are my sort of days to work on my curriculum. So Monday, I would be doing my memoir study. Um, Really Monday, Tuesday, but anyway. Um, because I tend to read it because I'll talk to my coven in the middle of the week, so it makes sense to read whatever we're reading closer to that. Then Wednesday is my writing lab. I'm going to make that part of my early morning, like when I rise and I sit down at my computer, I'll be doing that. And then Friday is my Hecate studies, which I don't know. I think, in the evening, it'll be like later at night. And then Sunday is my science of ritual, which is a really good day to do that. Sunday is a good reset day, and that will definitely keep me from scrolling as much. So, my full 6 week curriculum outline. Week one is thresholds and awakening. So, identity, liminality, vignette writing, and threshold ritual. I love me. Week two, descent and discovery. Everything's a theme with me. Descent and discovery. So these are going to be shadow themes, perspective shift writing, and ritual brain states. I'll be doing sort of like experiments on myself with the science of ritual. So that's what this is about. Week three is crafting the witch self. So that's origin myth writing, Hecate keys, and attention magic. Week four is embodied craft. So that's like a spell palm creation, like a palm. I'm saying, it sounds like I'm saying PALM, palm. I am so Jersey. POEM is what I'm trying to say, a palm. Why do that sounds weird when I hear it. Anyway, spell palm creation, crossroads mapping, and neuroplastic change. This sounds incredibly fancy. I swear, it's not. It is, but it's not. Week five is devotion and power, devotional writing, somatic magic, and Hecate devotion. And then finally, week six is my integration and becoming. So that's going to be my manifesto writing, world soul study, and symbolic integration. I'm really excited about all this. Um, so yeah. So that is the 6 week curriculum outline and kind of my thought processes about everything and like what the intent sort of these are the intentions that I'm speaking about each one. So there are rituals that are going to be performed because I am me and I like doing rituals. It's part of my practice. So um like the threshold rite of becoming is one of them. So that's like a doorway work. So there's a doorway working, water cleansing, intention declaration. And then I have daily devotional rite. So that's going to be your breath work, my flame focus, and sigil activation. Sigils are involved. And then the shadow lantern ritual. So that's like a candle in a jar thing, which kind of fits what I'm already doing separately for Yule. Um, it's like a candle in jar shadow witnessing ritual. It's a thing. So yeah, I'm working on a spell for consistency and devotion, a crossroad spell for clarity, and spells for reclaiming power. Um, the cycles, of course, we're still within that full moon energy ish. But I'll be working with like new moon energy during this time frame for sure, doing cleansing, intention setting rituals, and then full moon again, illumination. So that's like truth, journaling, energetic clarity ritual. These are like how I'm approaching ritual cycles. And then I'm gonna another Hecate night devotional. So I just did a Hecate night devotion, like basically virtual devotional with my coven, but I'm going to do something a little separate where there's like offerings, which I'll do again, key torch symbolisms, which we did, and I'll do it again, and like some sort of crossroads prayer that, part of this is I'll be writing that. So that'll be really cool that I'm writing that. And one of the things, because I like to constantly keep working with herbal knowledge, but I'm going to make it more about being, a desert witch because I'm in the desert. So I'm going to be working with like desert sage, mesquite, prickly pear, desert marigold, palo verde blossom, and ocotillo. So Akatio is energy, movement, boundary clearing, metaphysical properties. That is desert sage, purification and grounding. The mesquite is sweetening and nourishment, and the prickly pear, which if you have no idea what prickly pear is, I know I didn't until I moved here. But I will not turn down a prickly pear margarita. Prickly pear is protection, emotional resilience. I went to a farmer's market and bought uh, prickly pear jam as well. It didn't taste very good, but I got to keep the cute little jar. And then the desert marigold represents joy, solar clarity. And then the palo verde blossom is renewal and spiritual cleansing. So, um, I really spent a lot of time kind of thinking this out without making this too intense for myself because like I said, I realize I will overcomplicate things for me. And I don't mean to do that to myself, but I do. And then I look at it and it's too many steps and too much going on and I abandon it. So that's why I map things out and I can make it make sense. So, um, yeah, so this is pretty much it. I was just gonna kind of look at some other notes here. Yeah, my daily practice system. So like morning intentions, midday check-in, evening grounding. And there's divination involved in this, specifically with the Hecate practice. So a daily tarot pull. I'm going to be doing like a crossroads 3 card spread. And I'm also going to be doing some lunar cycle journaling as well. So much more writing, much more like pen in hand, writing in a book, not just typing things out type of work as well, because I think that is really important for me right now, just keeping it old school. And another thing that I'm working on, and I talked about this Wednesday, is I'm going to be working in my own witchy activity book. If you're interested in this, go to leaptaken.com. It is available. You can purchase this directly from me at leaptaken.com. If you don't want to buy it on TikTok or Amazon, I sell it directly, but it's also available in those other 2 places as well, just so you know. But yeah, I'm going to be working on all these things. This is sort of my, yeah, not sort of, but this is my personal winter curriculum for myself. And I'm very, very excited. So I've got my syllabus, I've got my study plans, and I got my schedules. So I feel good about it. I feel really happy about this. So today is Friday. So I'm actually going to start today, and it's Friday. So it's Hecate study. So I'll be working with that. The good news is I am already a bit of a Hecate devotee. I'm not officially saying that, but low key I am. So I am, and I say official because I feel like I should do more a ceremony of sorts to say that and do that. But I work a lot with Hecate and we have an ongoing type of situation. And I really love working with that archetype, the Hecate archetype, and that energy. And I'm just going to share a little bit about that. I was somebody who didn't work with deities for the longest time. Matter of fact, I know in like old videos, I talked about how I didn't work with any deities, and I hadn't really worked with them very much. Off and on, like I dibbled and dabbled because I wanted to experience that. But full disclosure, I didn't like working with deities because it took so much brain power, emotional regulation, and just resetting and shadow work to release the chokehold of Christianity. I was indoctrinated at the beginning, and it continues on and on. I remember being in practice as a Wiccan and struggling with the concepts of the God and goddess and things like that because I struggled so much with releasing the chokehold of the Christian God and the Jesus and all that sort of stuff. And knowing in my heart, I'm seeing people that I love and I care about having legitimate um, experiences with their Christian God, with their Jesus, and kind of struggling in my mind with, well, maybe it is real. Maybe there is something to that. Fast forward to where I'm at now, I have a totally different approach on deity work. I'm very comfortable with looking at deities strictly archetypal. That resonates with me like a lot. But I'm also a very imaginative person. I like a good story. I enjoy writing. So because my brain thinks like that, and that's just kind of, how I am, I really like a good story and I kind of like the fantasy elements. I'm also very comfortable with the personification of these deities. So I work with Hecate, as I mentioned, I'm working with Hecate. So I'm okay with like statues of her imagery, and I'm okay with pictures that I have in my book of her imagery and things like that. I'm okay with visualizing her as well as more of a person, as opposed to some sort of, energy, ball of energy or something like that, or just as an idea. Um, I suggest you, if you're interested in doing deity work or deity work, working with gods and goddesses and so forth, um, you might want to wrap your mind around how you want to approach it. And there's no right or wrong. And I like to do a mixture of all of it. I don't just always think like the archetype of Hecate and how I want to invoke the energy, the archetype, the idea of her. Um, there are other times where I want to believe she is an entity that could, I don't know, take form, I guess, although I don't think she's taken any form in front of me. Like, I haven't had that experience. But you know what? Hopefully, you kind of know what I mean. Kind of like how Christians see the God in Jesus. And no, let me scratch that. How Christians see the devil. They see the devil in everything. They see the devil in like as a true form, like a being. They think the devil's a real being. And this is the other, okay, this is part of the deconstruction that I had to do because I was like, well, wait a minute. After doing research to understand the concept of like the devil as as modern people know it, um, is all it's from fiction and art, and it's from someone's imaginations that they poured onto a canvas and they wrote about imagery. And a lot of my people take it seriously, and there's no one to tell them differently because they're going to a place of worship and everybody's telling them that anyway. So one of the things that I was able to deconstruct was that, because when you're deconstructing from religion, you have to look at all facets, not just the God part, but like the devil part. Because the reason it was important to deconstruct all of that, because if I'm doing something against this Christian God, then that means I'm going to hell and the devil's going to roast me. So I had to come to terms with that whole thing. And the best way to come to terms, people always say, well, how do you deconstruct? Where do you start? Think. Just start asking the questions. And the short answer is there are no answers. And when you ask people who are degreed in theology and who still continue to speak of, this is their faith and they believe it, or they're telling you they believe everything, and they're actually living their lives with this. When you talk to them, you're not going to get a straight answer. Now, and if you talk to somebody who's degreed in theology and they learned everything and you notice they no longer practice, ask them. That's the perfect people to ask. Ask those people the questions, the big questions, um, and then it'll help with your deconstruction. Like within the Christian world, talk to those people. You'll be surprised that you'll actually get the answers, and the answers are what you always knew deep in your heart. No, no, this is all no. The short answer is no, and it'll make it easier to deconstruct because then, like, you've removed the foundation that you've been told is just not real. And, there's so much more to learn, though, about that. I'm no longer in a deconstruction phase. It's been years in the making, but I have graduated from that. Um, I don't speak in terms of this constant comparison to what is said in the Quran, what is said in the Bible. Like I don't have that like at all. I don't have this thing where I gotta keep comparing. That's when you've graduated. You're not constantly making the comparisons. When you watch my channel, I don't talk a lot about Bible verses in comparison or trying to deconstruct. Like, that's not what I'm about. I've already elevated and I've graduated, and I'm trying to listen. If you're still going through the deconstruction, that's cool. But I'm showing you the living proof of what it's like to be on the other side of that. And, I'm over here, taking the personal curriculum approach that is very common. A lot of people are, it started on TikTok. There's a woman there. Dang, I can't remember her name right now. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Kudos to her. I referenced her the first time I talked about this, so I did give her credit, but I cannot, like, her name is escaping me, and I love this young lady because she does a monthly. She started the whole thing on TikTok, but anyway, she does the monthly curriculum, and for me, like I said, I'm doing 6 weeks, but I love that I'm combining all of these elements. I'm actually so excited. The writing lab and just broadening my studies on Hecate. Oh my God. In this book, the memoir study, which by the way will kind of, I'll be writing about that more and not just talking about it, sort of like in our book club in our coven. So, but I'm taking an approach where I'm low key starting my own memoir, but not like for real, but you know what I mean? Like, it's part of the writing lab. Um, Very excited about this. And that science of ritual and how ritualization or daily rituals do something to you and your mind. Again, the number one reason outside of just pure knowledge is I want to stop scrolling on these phones. I want to stop scrolling on the phone. That is my number one thing. I realize it's a bit much, and I don't like feeling out of control. I don't like feeling like I'm a slave to something. And yeah, so I'm already getting a head start on the new year, going into 2026 and the goals and the plans and all that. And I think this is going to be I don't think again, I know this is going to help me achieve my goals. And my goals is to always be learning, always, and like I said, apply those new things where I can. The science of ritual is going to be my blockbuster spell. It's going to break through everything and kind of help rewire my mind a little bit more. And I got 6 weeks to work on it, so I'm very excited about this. um, and so that is the curriculum. So that's everything to go with there. Again, I mentioned the books. I'm taking those, I'm already reading the one, and I'll be adding on the keeping her keys, keeping of her keys. Am I saying that right? Yeah, keeping her keys. I already own it, so I won't be reading from front to back like the whole book. I'll be taking out sections that relate to my course of study. So again, for my goddess studies, Hecate is historical study, devotional practice, modern priestess work. So I have sort of assignments and things like that that I'll work in and do that. So that's the exciting part about that. And like I said, my book here, the Witchy Activity book, this is something that I'll be sort of like doing witchy work in between. I talked about cozy magic coming into this year, and I'm really, really embracing that. Like, really embracing that. I want to keep it real cozy over here. And I've been working with this deck. I share this, the Cozy, Comfy Cozy Witch. By the way, love, love her book. Her name is Jenny Blonde. I don't watch any of her content. I'll be honest with you. I know she makes content. I don't watch this woman's content. I was led to her by her books, and the books made me get the cards. I actually featured these before. So you guys, I'm pretty sure I showed you these cards, but they're Oracle cards. But I love this, and I'm working this in like with my daily pulls. These are just kind of, they're comfortable, fun, loving, wonderful energy coming off of this deck. Like, it's good. You know what I mean? It feels right. It feels good. It feels good for this time of year. So like I would pull a card just to kind of give you idea. So I got gratitude. Oh, thank, receive. So like, pulling a card like this first thing in the morning lets me know to either be in a state of gratitude or, be thankful, or, maybe I could be of service to someone else. Maybe, it's because I feel like that's reciprocal and all that. So um, Chick-fil-A trying to get me to buy. I'm sorry, I'm getting a notification on my watch. Share a joy with someone special. No, we're not doing that. I don't eat chicken. I don't eat any of that. And that's been something in the making. I stopped eating meat and I am so grateful. Bell, clear, cleanse. Like, this is the type of cards that you'll get. So, I just wanted to give you an idea of like what I'll pull, and I would meditate, like look at these cards, think about it, feel the feelings, and then I can journal about it as well. So, and that'll be great to have. So, another thing, because I've been trying to decide where am I going to write all this stuff? How am I going to keep notes on this? And I'm going to make myself um, feel pretty good about everything. I'm just going to use one of my many notebooks that I've already owned. I don't know which one. Yeah, I'm looking around because I was like, I don't know which one. I got a bunch of them. I got like piles and stacks and things like that. But I will be writing all this stuff down someplace and just a pre-owned notebook. If you knew what it took to hold back from being impulsive and just buying a new notebook, I have unused notebooks literally behind me on these shelves. So I'm not going to do that. I created notebooks. Go to leaptaken.com and they're just line pages and a pretty cover. You can laminate it and make your own. But I have that too. So I don't need to buy another one. This is more for me than for you guys. But yeah, so I'll be doing that as well. Just using a notebook, and I'll just write it down. I think not a note, well, a binder, I should say. So something with rings, so you can move stuff around, and I can kind of separate the subject. So I'll be doing it like that, and I have plenty of divider pages and all that sort of stuff. So again, I'm good in that department. But yeah, this is my winter studies. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love this for me. I feel good about it. Um, and I'm glad I chose 6 weeks instead of a month. And I won't be trying to do like a longer college level course. I'm not mature enough for that right now. I'm mature, but I'm not mature enough for that right now. I'm struggling right now. That's just not going to work for me. But yeah, that was it. And of course, just to kind of show you this deck again, because I'm really kind of in love with this Oracle deck. It's so sweet, it's so simple, and it's not a lot. And I mean, I'm not getting anything from it. I genuinely like using this deck, the Comfy Cozy Witch Oracle. And of course, I stay using my OG Everyday Witch Tarot. These are always around me. This is actually a card pool. I left these here. Um, these cards are for someone that I know, and I want an insight. And listen, they didn't ask me to read for them, so I didn't tell them. Pro Tarot. If you're a professional tarot reader, let me, you know this, but if you're budding or if you didn't know, don't read for people if they didn't ask you. That's an invasion of privacy. And you kind of sound like somebody walking up and just like giving, like, I don't know, giving unrequested advice. Like, shut up. Nobody asked you. So, however, I wanted more clarification on their situation. So I read their cards. I have this information. It is locked, and I can be a better friend as time goes on because when asked, I will be able to provide guidance on my intuition, which they would be asking, and I can better help them, but not until they ask. I don't offer and try to push that on people. I also, in my friendships, don't ask people if they want me to do a spell for them. I don't ask if you ask me, I'll take it under advisement because it depends on what you're asking me to do. Um, but if you're my friend, you wouldn't be asking me to do something silly anyway. So, like, you know, no, but yeah. I start thinking of all the silly options that could, no, I'm not doing that. But anyway, I have really good boundaries around my practice, and the people in my life respect what I do, and they know that what I do is very real at minimum to me, and they respect that. So they don't ask me to do things like that. But I am me, and I did want to know, so I did pull some cards, and I do have it. The cards just solidified what I knew, And I will say, being someone who is a witch, I'll just use the blanket term witch. And I do have, gifts where I do see the patterns and the gift of intuition that is a little more heightened than it was once upon a time, um, because it's something I work at in my psychic abilities. I will just say this: it sometimes is hard talking to people knowing the outcome. And not telling them, because it's not my place to tell them. It's not our place to tell people things if they didn't ask. I'm going to repeat that. Don't go around here telling people what's going to happen to them, or the, don't do, unless, they ask for it. And it's tough because sometimes the people that sometimes you feel like you can save them heartache. You can save them the troubles. But you know how you have your tower moment, and you were able to sort of rise above, and you had to learn some lessons from that, and it kind of forever shaped you. It's not my place to take away from somebody's tower moment. Sometimes people need strong pushes, strong experiences to get them on a certain path, because their fear, their desire to not have too much change in their life, um, can blind them to an opportunity in front of them. And it's hard to see. And listen, I live this. It's hard to see opportunities when you're surviving. You're just fighting to make. You're surviving right now. You're not thriving the way that you want to. You're surviving life. And it's hard to see. And you're just like, what do you mean? How would that be hard to see? Because you are in the mundane. The good thing is the people that I know who are going through things right now, they're strong. I mean, listen, we all get to a point where it's too much. Trust me, I understand that. But this particular person, they're very strong. And I feel like they're coming into what the cards told me organically. They're getting there. And my part as their friend is to confirm, validate, kind of be their tarot when asked, and indirectly give them information when asked, when prompted, and not until then. But that's the type of friend I am. Um, I would never do that to somebody. I think that's so ego driven. Oh, Spirit wanted me to tell you. Spirit didn't tell me to tell you anything. And if I got a message from Spirit, why are they telling me about you? Why couldn't they just contact you directly? Sometimes when people are going through it, like back to back, incidents of just like chaos, Spirit is talking to them. Sometimes the chaos is their own doing, and they need to deal with it. And life is showing them, hey, you got to get out of this. You got to make some changes. Um, Unless you want to keep living this chaotic life. And us practitioners, witches, tarot readers, clairvoyants, psychics, whatever, trying to come in and interrupt that cycle for that person is more of a hindrance than, because sometimes people, if you walk up and you're telling somebody, like somebody, obviously, if you're telling them about the message, the reading that you did for them that they didn't ask for, there are personality types who will completely do the opposite, because they don't like that you got their number, that you got their measurement, that you think you know them more than they know themselves. There are a lot more adults walking around like that, more than I like to believe, but I think low-key I'm one of them. But we walk around. I got it a little more in check now that I've gotten older, but like, we become spiteful when you think you know us. And I think that's the Scorpio in me. um, like, what you mean you know me? How do you don't know me? Like, you get immediately like offended by that. I know that's the Scorpio in me. But yeah, some people, so they won't even take the message that they technically are being given by spirit, by the universe, because you threw it off by coming in there and running your mouth. So that's why these were hard lessons that I had to learn over the years. Keep it to yourself unless asked. Um, How did I get on this tangent alert? Well, somebody needed to hear this today, right? It was a message that needed to be heard. So I'm going to move on from this. Oh, because I was talking about this oracle and the tarot cards and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. Moving on. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening to my rambly, fun excitement about my personal winter curriculum. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And this go around, my goal is to complete this and then actually be able to talk about it and in a way where it makes sense for others. This is for my personal knowledge, but like the highlights of like the science of ritual, because I think that would be an interesting thing to talk about. Hecate, of course, and the memoir study, the book, the Initiated, and just breaking that out, and then my writings and as well. I think that'll be interesting to share 6 weeks from now. So, yay me! And of course, in the midst of this, I'll be doing all my other things. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. Of course, if you want to support the channel, one of the best things you could do is just hit that like button. It supports Leap Taken. It tells YouTube that people like seeing these videos like this. So thank you. The other thing is you can hit the join button and join Leap Taken membership. It's essentially Patreon. It's $5.99 a month. There is exclusive member content where I am very hands-on, and I've beefed it up because I'm actually giving other like actual digital downloads for you to get. And yeah, so there's spell work, ritual work being shown, and you get your own copies that you go get for free at my website, leaptaken.com. If you like the idea of just accessing those spells and rituals, and they're on, pretty pages, and it's all really cool looking and witchy and wonderful. If you're interested in that, those are also available at my website for the same price of the membership, which is $5.99. You could pay once a month, $5.99, or you could just download those for $5.99. It's up to you. I just try to make it simple and extremely affordable. But yeah, you can check that out as well. But anyway, I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. I'll be working, and so it's Venus Day, but I'll be working with Hecate tonight. So thank you for watching. Bye.